Let's talk undervalued players based on early ADP. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all. I am Frank Sanford, joined by Kris Towers. Let's hand out some ADP gifts, some undervalued players based on early NFBC ADP. And up first for you, Kris, is Kyle Bradish. His ADP is 89. Some people might think that's a little bit high, but the upside is massive for Kyle Bradish.
Yeah, the last time we saw a full healthy season for Kyle Bradish, he went 168 and 2/3 innings with a 2.83 ERA. So already we have established that he can be a very good major league pitcher. What's happened in the 2 years since then is obviously he had Tommy John surgery in 2024. He came back from that in 2025. In between, or I guess sandwiched around that surgery, is 71 innings with a 2.64 ERA and like a 35% strikeout rate. That is basically what Garrett Crochet did last season. I don't necessarily think Kyle Bradish is as good as Garrett Crochet, but when you look at the underlying skill set, you've got two fastballs that he can miss bats with. You have historically a pretty good ground ball pitcher. You have multiple swing and miss secondaries and then the slider and curveball. I just think there is a world where Kyle Bradish throws 160 innings this season and is a top 10 starting pitcher. Now, everything's got to go right to hit that level if he's only throwing 160 innings, but I will point out, Yoshinobu Yamamoto's the number 4 consensus starting pitcher off the board right now. He's probably only going to throw about 170, 175 innings. So it's a different paradigm than the one we're used to if you've been playing for a long time. 160 innings is kind of the new 180. And so I think if Kyle Bradish stays healthy for 160 innings, SP21, whatever the ADP is going to be a discount for him.
I agree completely on Kyle Bradish. Next name up for me is Maikel Garcia. And this is another one that might surprise people. You're buying off the breakout. His ADP is right around 90. But he just finished as the 61st overall player in Roto. He was the 5th best third baseman in head-to-head points leagues. And at 26 years old, I think that there is a chance that he gets even better. I think the Royals might believe that as well. They gave him an extension this offseason. Maikel Garcia makes a lot of contact. He hits the ball hard. He improved the launch angle. He's an amazing defender, so you know he's going to stay on the field as well. There is a chance, especially playing in Kansas City, that the power comes back a little bit. But I think if Maikel Garcia has moved up to the leadoff spot, I think the steals could bounce back a little bit. A good batting average here, 12 to 15 homers, 30-plus steals, 90-plus runs scored. I think there's a lot to like here with Maikel Garcia. Someone else who's coming off a huge breakout season, Kris, is Geraldo Perdomo. The ADP all the way down at 80. Why are you in on Geraldo Perdomo?
So 80 feels high for a guy whose ADP last season was, I think, 400 or so. And generally speaking, I think being skeptical of one-year breakouts is the right policy. The thing with Geraldo Perdomo, though, is he was the number 15 player last season. Even if you're skeptical, even if you think there will be a lot of regression, there's a lot of room between 15 and 80. Yes, he doesn't hit the ball particularly hard. That's an issue. Although, I will point out his quality of contact got better last season. His average bat speed was up about 1.4 miles per hour from the previous year. He's never going to be a true power hitter. He's never going to be someone who crushes a ton of home runs, deep over the fence. But I'll point out two things. One, I forgot to mention in the actual podcast, and that's on me, because it was of the 9 home runs over 400 feet that Geraldo Perdomo has hit in his career. I think 7 of them came after June of last year. So he did start to tap into some legit power. And 2, I think Maikel Garcia is a good comp here, where Maikel Garcia, the physical tools are better. He hits the ball harder. What Geraldo Perdomo does is he hits the ball to the right spots. He had a 20% pulled air rate last season. He hits a lot of line drives. He's got phenomenal bat control. He's got a great approach at the plate. So I think Geraldo Perdomo is one of those guys who's going to get the most out of his below average power. It's a solid all-around skill set. I think 12 to 15 homers, 20-plus steals, really good counting stats, and a 275 batting average is really realistic for Geraldo Perdomo.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Welcome back in Fantasy Baseball. Today we're taking a look at undervalued players based on early ADP. And Kris, I am shocked there is not more enthusiasm for Trey Yesavage based on everything we just saw from him. Yes, there were some inconsistencies. He was a rookie pitcher, but starting his season at low A, making it all the way to the majors, and then having just two ridiculous outings in the postseason, double-digit strikeouts against both the Yankees and the Dodgers, flashing that massive strikeout upside. I believe there's a legit three-pitch mix here. He's got this over-the-top delivery, deceptive fastball. He gets whiffs on the fastball. He has this kind of backdoor slider that he throws, an amazing splitter with a 50+% whiff rate. So I believe in the pitch mix. He's not going to be limited next season in terms of workload. They've already come out and said, we could get 150, 160 plus innings out of Trey Yesavage. And the ADP is right around 150. So at that point, you can get him as your SP3 or SP4, maybe in a shallower league. I think there's a bunch of upside for Trey Yesavage, and I'm pretty shocked that his ADP isn't a little bit higher this offseason already. Let's move over to another name for you. That is Luke Keishel. The ADP is 141 in the early going.
I have a lot of faith in two skills for Luke Keishel: his ability to get on base and his ability to make things happen when he gets on base. It was a 382 OBP last season. I'm not expecting that to repeat, but even if he's not a true 300 hitter and he's more like a 270 hitter, like his expected stats, well, that still gets you to around a 350 OBP. That's very good. I think he's going to hit at or near the top of the lineup for the Twins, and they just let him run so much. Combined between the AAA and the majors, it was 25 stolen bases over 77 games. It's about a 50 steal pace. I think expecting 50 steals is probably too much, but 40 with a good OBP and a passable batting average and a lot of runs, I think that's a pretty decent expectation for Luke Keishel. He's going to score a bunch of runs. I think there's double-digit homer power there at least. I don't think it's 20 homers necessarily, but with everything else he does, I think Luke Keishel's a bargain around 140.
Next name up for me is going to be Kris Bubic, who is an injury wild card. He's coming off of a rotator cuff strain, but that is baked into his ADP right now, which is 213 as the 62nd starting pitcher off the board. If he made it through the season healthy with a sub-3 ERA, a sub-1.2 whip, we'd probably be talking about Kris Bubic as a top 30 starting pitcher drafted. Maybe top 20 starting pitcher drafted. And again, he's going outside the top 60 starting pitchers right now. So yes, there is risk. Any pitcher coming off a shoulder injury, I totally get that. But he flashed the upside. It's a great park to pitch in. Assuming he stays there, there have been some trade rumors. And he's entering a contract year. So I think barring health, we can get a big season here out of Kris Bubic. Kris, I'll throw it over to you for your last name here, Yvon Herrera, who's a bit of a cheat code early on with an ADP of 190.
Well, he could be, and he hopefully should be, because the problem with Yvon Herrera is he's not catcher eligible right now. And it's just a question of, does he gain catcher eligibility in early April? Yes, he's a cheat code. Absolutely. If it's more like May, probably still a pretty big cheat code, because Yvon Herrera is, I think, a legitimate DH caliber bat who would work as a DH for fantasy, except he should gain catcher eligibility at some point. Everything that I've seen from the Cardinals suggests that they expect him to be part of their catcher rotation next season, if not their primary guy. He's coming off elbow surgery. That was why he didn't catch last year. If he's healthy and he's ready to catch early on, I hope they give him 5 games at catcher or at 10. We'll say 10 because I know some other leagues, CBS, it's 5 games to gain eligibility. NFBC, it's 10. Let's get him 10. Let's start 10 straight games at catcher and the rest at DH for the rest of the season. Because if Yvon Herrera was catcher eligible, I think he'd be a top 5 guy for me. I think he'd be right there with Ben Rice and Shea Langoliers. He is such a good hitter. The expected WOBA was a top 25 mark in all of baseball. It backed up what he did last season, which was 284, 19 homers, 8 steals in 107 games. That's close to a 30 homer, 15 stolen base pace over a full season. And there's nothing fluky about it. He was pretty much that good in 2024. The batting average should be very good as well. Yvon Herrera, man, he could be an absolute difference maker once he gains catcher eligibility.
All right. Merry Christmas once again. Happy holidays to all. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again next week. Bye-bye.